What is up, beautiful people? This is the Kentucky Postgame Show. Please like, please subscribe. I'm Fletch. This is Mario. We're back with Michael Hunt. And today we have Vince with us. I really appreciate you coming on, man. Big man on campus. Show, man. Big man on campus in Auburn.
Yep.
Yeah. Went to Trinity High School. Now in Auburn. It's your third year?
Yep, I'm junior.
Yeah. You do a lot of media up there. Like I said, big man. Everybody knows you. So pretty sick.
Try my best, right? You guys keep it in the loop.
You got to, man. We're excited to have you on, man. Switching gears a little bit. We'll be talking about Kentucky. So your hometown
home team,
state.
Baby.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. Very interesting from your perspective. Yeah. So
I'm ready for it.
Before we go into that, what do you think Auburn's got? You know, what does their tourney run look like?
As wide open as anybody else in the SEC. Obviously, there's been ups and downs. Everybody's winning at home, struggling on the road, except maybe, I guess, Kentucky. No, I mean, I think we're playing our best basketball that we've played all year. From the first five to the second five, they're a very deep team. Bruce Pearl in March, he's hard to predict some years versus others, but you never know. I have a little feeling that they might be due for a deep tournament run, but like I said, magical March, so we shall see.
They got the talent. Yeah. They definitely have the talent.
That's why it's called March Madness. Vanderbilt basketball was overpowered by Kentucky in Rupp Arena. Now Kentucky is set to take on Tennessee this Saturday in Knox Vegas. That's going to be it's going to be a powerful game.
Yeah,
we talked about it last
man.
episode, and that's how important it is. Is we're already talking about it. A little bit in advance.
Two Titans clashing, man. I'm excited to see what Tennessee is going to look like inside that stadium. You know, it gets hectic in there. Oh, yeah. Kentucky. Every game we get a Super Bowl, regardless of who we're playing, man. Mm-hmm. Every time we go on the road, it's a Super Bowl. So I'm excited to see what the Cats are going to do to Tennessee.
Yeah, they take on each other in Knoxville. Who has this one? Tennessee versus Kentucky.
The heart of me says the Cats are going to pull it off. There's a lot of things going on with this game. Kentucky has to win to survive the first round game Thursday. They have to win. And the thing is, they win, they lock up the 2. You know, we avoid Tennessee until Sunday in a best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we're the 5 seed and we're playing someone like Auburn the next day, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Kentucky gets revenge. Close game. I think it's going to be in the 80s. I think last time they won by 7, high scoring game. Yeah. So I got Cats
for sure, man. Big thing is Kentucky. I like Kentucky in this one. There's a reason why. Kentucky's they're in their best rhythm right now for the season right now. They haven't been in such a good rhythm since late January, and I think part of it is because they're healthy now. Kentucky's fully healthy, ladies and gents. We got Trey Mitchell. We got the whole squad. Everybody's back and ready to go. Last time, I believe, when they played Tennessee, we didn't have DJ Wagner. We got him now. Best on-ball defender, like you talked about, Big Mike. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like in terms of matchup. I'm really excited for this Dalton Connect and Antonio Reeves showdown. This is going to be
special
popcorn.
Special.
Yeah. This is going to be a very good one. But I got Kentucky in this one. They just have the advantage. They're in a better spot. They have a lot more rhythm compared to Tennessee. I know Tennessee's just coming off a big win. But like I said, Kentucky, they're not fazed by the road madness that's going to be, in Tennessee. I like Kentucky in this one. They're one of the more talented teams in the country. It's going to be a high-scoring game. We know that. I think it's going to come down to the defense and getting stops and foul trouble. I think foul trouble is going to be big, very big in this one, especially for Tennessee. If Tennessee, they have some trouble in foul trouble. I think if Kentucky can, control the pace of the game, which I think the pace is going to be in Tennessee's favor. They're going to be at home. They're going to be riding off the fans over there in that environment. I got to go with Kentucky, though. I think they have the rhythm right now, and it's in their hands.
Yeah, and I'll back off your point, too, on the road. Yeah. Kentucky beat Florida on the road. They beat Auburn on the road, and those are teams that are dominant at home. State at home in a great game. So I think for Kentucky, it will be managing that. And like you said, the pace. You think it'll be in Tennessee's favor. I think to win, they have to play Kentucky pace. And you saw that last night against Vanderbilt. When the game got slow, Kentucky got fast, and that's when they got into their mojo. That's when you get the ball in the hands of Dillingham and let him do his thing. Reeves, let him go shoot, go score. Reed Shepherd, the most controlled player in college basketball. You get him the ball, good things happen. And for them to beat Connect and to beat Rick Barnes at home in a tough environment like Knoxville, they got to control the pace and got to control the boards.
I got 2 points. Going back on what you say, control the pace. I think the two big factors in this Super Bowl, don't connect. You gotta keep him under his average, okay? And number two, we're not going to beat him down low. We're not going to beat him down low. So we got to beat him on the perimeter. Last 3 games, somebody we're not, relying on shooting three is, you're high on DJ Wagner. Yeah. Man, the last 3 games is 9 of 14. If he can keep that up, and we already know what we're getting out of Antonio, Reed, and Dilly, I think we get it.
Yeah, for sure. They're not. Kentucky's not known to be a down low. Dump it down.
That's where that's where they strive.
Yeah, they're not. They're not that. Maybe last year with Oscar Sheboy, but now
not this Kentucky.
This is a different Kentucky basketball club. So I think honestly, like you said, DJ Wagner is going to be key, especially going against Ziegler. It's the key. Ziegler. He destroyed us last time.
Career high.
He destroyed us last time. I think DJ Wagner, having him in there with his on-ball defense to kind of take away Ziegler, it's going to be a good matchup. I like that matchup.
Yeah, you brought up Dalton Connect for Tennessee. Texas wears the burnt orange. Tennessee wears the ugly orange. But you got Antonio Reeves versus Dalton Connect. Out of those two, the SEC Player of the Year, who you got?
I got Antonio Reeves, and I'm not being biased. I promise you guys, I'm not being biased. Made major improvements from last year. Was known to be kind of a catch and shoot guy last year. Now he can pretty much do anything. He has the floater game, mid-range game, can shoot the three, can put the ball on the floor a lot more than he did last year. Dalton Connect's he's a star. He's a star. He's a top pick. I think a lottery pick as well. Has the size, can shoot the ball, can get to the rim, do a lot of the same things that Antonio can do. Their averages are almost identical. They're both transfers, So I say this: let's decide who's the SEC Player of the Year for this game. Let's see what the matchup is going to be.
Super Bowl MVP.
Exactly. Let Super Bowl MVP. Whoever wins, has the better matchup among the two, go give them the SEC Player of the Year. That's my take on it.
Go ahead.
Sure. I think obviously Antonio Reeves has had such a year, and like you said, his game has grown so much from coming in as just he's a shooter. Mm-hmm. Watch him on the perimeter. He'll burn you. To now, he's a passer. He's a rebounder. He's running the floor, and he's playing defense. And that, obviously, you have to credit. But you also have to credit the play of Connect at Tennessee and where he's taking Tennessee as well. They're a reason they're a top 5 team in the country and have beat the teams in the SEC that they have by the margins that they have. He's tough. He can score at all 3 levels. I remember the reason he said he transferred was to play in the big moments. And the big moments are right now, and he's going to have to step up if they want to win. And in terms of the Reeves versus Connect matchup, I think who's more important? Tennessee can't win without Connect. No. They're a completely different ball club, where Kentucky, without Reeves, you still have Dilly, you still have DJ Wagner, you still have Reed Shepherd, guys that can make plays and win you ball games. So I would say, in terms of Player of the Year, I would say Dalton Connect.
So we talked before the show. So I got to change of heart in his last 10 minutes. Okay? So this is what I'm going to say here. We forgot to mention who was the 6th man of the year, SEC.
Last year.
Okay. Like you said, all he done is come back. It was a struggle for getting him back. We got him back in Kentucky. He is. This game solidified 20 a game. Okay. He was just known as a catch and shoot. Off the dribble, he's dunking. He's not scared of pressure. His splits, his shooting percentage. He's shooting 70% from inside the 3, let alone 45 from outside. But the thing is, doesn't matter what we think. I think, change of heart, I think Antonio Reeves is the Player of the Year, but the media is going to choose Dalton Connect. And, he's good, man. Both of them are good.
Both good.
That was a lot, and that you just switched over in 10 minutes.
It was.
Think about it.
I had to listen to Mario, had to listen to him. But it is, man. Go Big Blue.
Defense. defense has been the thing that Kentucky needs to improve on going through this year. Now, we saw in this game against Vandy, started slow, got the win, 93-77, obviously at Rupp. But the question I got for you guys is, what's the best defensive lineup for Kentucky to cut leads?
Everybody wants to know about the lineups, the who should start this and that. What's the best defensive lineup? I don't honestly care, because to be honest with you, I've seen multiple Kentucky guards be able to show that they can play defense. I was a little bit skeptical on Robert Dillingham, but he can play defense. He can jump into the passing lanes. We know what Reed Shepard's a great defender. There's been rumors of him, having trouble staying in front of the people, but he's a smart defender, if I would put it that way. And we know what DJ Wagner, what he's capable of. Lineups, I don't know. I don't know what 5 guys, depending on the game, but I do know one thing is I want a Duke Thiero in that lineup when we want a defensive stop. I mean, the guy is everywhere in terms of getting stops, whether it's blocking shots or getting big time rebounds. I want a Duke Thiero in whatever best defensive lineup we have. He has to be in it.
So, best defensive lineup, you nailed it. But the rebuttal that I have for that is, we are successful, and we didn't bring this up. We are successful when Justin Edwards is not at the 3, but at the 4. It's such a mismatch on the opposing defense. He's so athletic for a big that's spreading the court. He's shooting. He gets open shots. It hurts a little bit, just because Adu is better at defense. But at the end of the day, we closed the game last week with 5 freshmen. Yeah. We brought that up last time. But I think as a team, we're getting so much better. And yeah, you hear the rumors is all our defense sucks because they scored 100. Yeah, but when you're scoring almost 2 points a possession, the opposing team, if they're Division I athletes, they're going to score.
Good point.
So it's hard. It's hard to score so many points on offense, and the defense. If we won 100 to 50 every game, I mean, what would people be saying? So, best defensive matchup, I'm going with whoever Cal gut instinct last 5 minutes. That's who he trusts, because we got to get a stop, because anybody knows any 5 can score.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true, and especially on offense, that's the case. Whoever you're going to get on the floor can put the ball in the basket. But for defense, I would say, to go off your point too, you have to have Adu in the game. He's just such a big physical defender that's intimidating to an offense, even like Tennessee, whose best players connect, and that my guess is they'll throw Thiero on.
I like that
on connect. But I think you have to have Thiero, you have to have DJ Wagner, both hard nosed, will get down, play defense on whoever it is. I think you throw Justin Edwards in there as well. The bigs, I don't think it quite matters, because they're all 3 tall, lean, can block shots at the rim, which I guess is what you want with a lineup like Thiero, Wagner, those guys. And I think you throw Reed in there too. Also a physical, and he's smart. That's the difference between he and a Dillingham or a Reeves even, is that he has a natural feeling for the game and feeling for defense, getting in gaps, getting his hand on passes, and even blocking shots we've seen too. He's one of the, I think he leads SEC guards in steals and blocks, which is absurd for a guard. So,
freshman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, add another thing to that award there. So that's who I would say. Those would be my 5 for the Cats defense.
What a good thing to have, especially as a coach. Coach Cal, what a perk to have, to be able to say, hey, if I want to throw 2 7-footers out there, let's just go big. Let me just do that.
Why not?
A lot of teams can do that. And I think it goes back to what you said, Mike. Really just depends on, what he's in the mood, what Cal's in the mood for, what he thinks is the best, defensive lineup at that moment, in that time in the game. Really just depends, because he has so many different options to choose from.
And the thing, I've been sitting here listening to everybody's comments here. We've known it's not a like a hidden thing. We are terrible at defense.
Yeah, they're gonna have to play deep.
So when we
This
talk
is a
about
Kentucky postgame show.
yeah,
I hope you know that.
be honest.
Be honest.
Honest.
Offense, top 3 in the country. Defense, top 70. So at this point, is the question, who's best defensive lineup, or who's going to score the most points? With a hope of a stop. And I think we all got a good point here. So
I think I don't know. I was watching the game last night, and I remember the announcers not to call him out. I'm not calling you out. I'm not calling you out. But I remember him saying, Kentucky fans are worried about defense. This is his quote. Kentucky fans are worried about defense. Why? When you can outscore any team in the nation. I disagree. They need to be worried about defense.
Defense wins championships.
Defense wins championships, and they're going to need it, especially in March Madness. I promise you that, because the talent, every game, the talent goes higher and higher. And you rarely see a team in March, you rarely see a game in March Madness. You might see blowouts here and there, but it's always neck and neck, and it's always about who's going to get that stop.
And you think about even Kentucky history, the 2012 team.
Great defense.
Tell me about Anthony Davis's offense in that game.
I think 8 points,
16 rebounds and 8 blocks or whatever gets him MVP of the game. He scored. He was 1 for 4 at half or 0 for 4 at halftime, and he said, "You guys score, I'll do everything else."
Yep.
You have to have somebody
Leadership.
like that to go win a national championship, and especially on defense.
Very, very good point. Earlier you said 5 guys, and now I'm like wanting a cheeseburger, some fried silk shakes.
Did I say 5 guys?
You talking about the lineup?
Oh man, I haven't had that in a while, man. Shut up, 5 guys. Man.
Expensive.
Yep. Too expensive.
Too expensive. So
much you
we are
want?
going to go ahead and continue with our fan questions. We got 2 for tonight, and the first one's going to come from Alice, Kentucky. Their question is, why won't Cal change the starting lineup?
You don't need to. What's the point? I mean, your bench players, or I don't even like to call them bench players. Your 2 phenom superstars off the bench are playing 25 to 30, 35 to 40 minutes a game. They rarely get out. But you don't need to. Why does it matter if, who starts or not? Especially if you're coming off the bench and you're playing, 40, 35 minutes a game. It doesn't really matter. They're producing. I'm sure they don't care. They know their roles. They know that, they're the guys that come off the bench and make stuff happen. I actually think it's an advantage. Why not, bring those guys in when, the other team's starters are kind of, getting worn down a little bit, 6 minutes to go in the game. They're starting to feel their legs a little bit. Then you got Reeves, Shepard, and Rob Dillingham, 2 potential top 5 picks checking in. You got to get ready for that. And it's like,
Buckle up.
Buckle up. Man, I think it's honestly, I wasn't a fan of it in the beginning of our show, Fletch, where I was like, I don't know, you changed up the lineup, but I can't complain now. I think it's a great scheme.
I agree.
Here's what I'd say. I'd say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you're 12-5 in the conference. You're 22-8 on the year. And honestly, the first thing I want off my bench is Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepard going at somebody's 6th and 7th man. My goodness gracious, strap up, because you're going to get the work if you don't pay attention and guard up, because he's going to. I mean, he's scoring 26 points per 40 minutes. Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. He's going to lay an egg on your head before you can blink. So that lineup, why would you change it if it works? And having that firepower off the bench where your first 5 and your second 5 have that much energy coming into the game, oh my goodness, it's so hard to stop.
Yeah, last night when the commentators had a top 5, I don't know if y'all paid attention, they had a top 5 most unguardable players in college basketball. I was instantly thinking, Rob got to be top 5. Wasn't. It shocked me. And the thing that gets me is, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was thinking Big Z has got to start. When he came back, he shot away from contact, and now he's stepping up. Mississippi State, I think that game he changed. And the thing is, like you said, there's one home game or there's one regular season game left. It's the biggest one of the year. I don't think, it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I said earlier, at the end of the day, it matters who finishes the game. And we all know who finishes the game. And it's the same, 5, 6 guys in the last 8 minutes that are in there. Mm-hmm. And I was one that's like, hey, Reed's got to start. Hey, Rob's got to start. But like you said, at the end of the day, who cares when they're playing 30 minutes and getting their, we're getting a win. So
that was going to be my point too. Antonio Reeves, 33 minutes last night. Reed Shepard, Rob Dillingham, 2nd and 3rd with 28 and 26 minutes. They're not playing. Yeah. They're still making their killing, and they're out there for a long time. So starting or not. And if it gets them more in the mode, coming off the bench with a little swagger to them, have at it.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Really good point. So going into our second question, it's going to be from Bureau_Bostic21.
I like that username.
Shout out
No, you
man.
don't. No, you don't. His question is, will there be a shift in the starting lineup due to Big Z standing out compared to O? And I believe he's speaking when he says O.
Uganda, I'm
Uganda,
guessing.
something.
Onion soup.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no, just like we just covered. I'm a Big Z guy, but at the end of the day, backtrack to last question, the mix up. I always didn't want to start the game in a hole, but at the end of the day, at that 16 and a half, 17-minute mark, when you have Reed and Dilly and Big Z, that 7, 8, 10-point deficit, 4 possessions, we got the lead. But I don't think that Big Z will start a game, and it's no big deal because he's playing. Matter of fact, let's talk about Aaron Bradshaw. There was a span where Ugo was our best big, and I couldn't stand it. Honestly, I was a Big Z guy, and I couldn't stand it. But
He's a
at the end,
stand.
and then the last 2 games, Bradshaw was playing. He's outperforming Ugo, and at that point, it doesn't matter because you've got 3 guys that could do the job differently. They all have their different view of the game. That's Ugo's a block. He's a shot blocker. Bradshaw. He's starting to finish in contact.
Yeah.
Something that we didn't see since North Carolina. And then Big Z, the last couple of games, he's not made a 3, but they're right there. They're good shots. It's just they're missing. DJ Wagner slump. Let them leave him open in the SEC tournament, NCAA tournament. That's going down.
Yeah.
Love what you said. Kind of to go off what you said. All 3 bigs are so different. You got Bradshaw, who can spread the floor a little bit. I would say he's versatile. He can there's a lot that he can do. You got a shot blocker in Uganda, and then you got Big Z, who's an offensive juggernaut. Can pretty much you got him doing behind the backs, coming down the floor. So it really doesn't matter. I say this. I know what Cal's probably going to do. He's probably going to go with the best big that's playing at that moment. Depending on who we play, we might play a team with we might play against a team with very good guard play where you might need a shot blocker like Uganda in the paint, and then you might play against a very dominant big where you want to kind of spread him out, you want to kind of get him out the paint, so you use Big Z. So you use Big Z and you run a lot of pick and pop action just to get the big out the paint. It really just depends. It's a really good perk to have, just to have those 3 different bigs. Like I said this earlier, a lot of teams don't have that. A lot of teams just have that one big. Like North Carolina, you have Armando Bacot. He's just their guy. With Kentucky, you got 3 different guys. Very, very big perk to have.
Yeah, and I think Cal's used to that too. He's always had bigs on bigs on bigs.
Yeah.
And even with the minutes that these 3 bigs that are primarily playing, they're not playing 10 minutes straight. You rarely see that. It's, Onyesa makes a mistake. Like he gets dunked on. Zakai Ziegler goes and beats him and lays it in. You're out.
Yeah.
Like someone else is going to get their shot. And when they mess up, you're coming back in. Coach Cal is a forget what you just did, coach, and put you back in when somebody else does something. And that's the rotation you're going to see is 1, 2, 3 over and over and over again with variables like foul trouble and that sort of thing too. Like Bradshaw had some fouls last night that took him out of the game, hence why he only played 7 minutes, where the other guys are 16, 17 kind of minute guys. But it all depends on the team you're playing and how those guys match up. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Saturday is the last game of the regular season, and then we'll enter the SEC tournament. What are your guys' early picks for the SEC tourney?
Kentucky, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose the tournament. I know fans don't bash me in the comments. I know, hey, it happens. But they might not win because the talent in SEC is so loaded. You got the Florida, who's really good. Florida's of the world. Very
Yeah,
good
right now.
basketball club. You got Alabama with their point guard,
Sears.
Mark Sears. He's a talent. You got LSU, not the greatest team, but maybe they can make a run.
Surprise.
Surprise team.
Texas A&M's of
Texas
last
A&M.
year.
Like there's multiple teams. And then you got the juggernauts. You got the Tennessees, the Auburns, the teams that you know it's going to be a dogfight. I don't know if Kentucky will be able to win it all, but they do have the most talent to do it. I would say they have the most talent to do it. And it just really depends on if they're ready to come out and play that game. There's times where Kentucky looks a little iffy. We saw it against UNC Wilmington. We haven't seen it in a while. I won't say they've been pretty consistent lately, so I have a good feeling about them, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did lose.
I think my weak spot for Kentucky in the SEC tournament will be closing games because they've had many late second half games. I'll use Mississippi State as an example. You're up, eight with a couple minutes to play?
Like 48 seconds.
If that, yeah. You got to close that game. And when you're in an environment like the SEC tournament will be in Nashville, I mean, there's going to be so many fans there. It's going to be bonkers for these people. But you have to know and you have to trust in your team to finish those games. And I think that there's a lot of SEC teams that are still figuring that out, Kentucky included. So that will be a toss-up to see which teams can finish those games. Because in a tournament like the SEC, it's a toss-up every game. Like we were talking about it before the show, Mississippi State can beat anybody. A&M, Buzz Williams can beat anybody. All these teams can come in and beat these top teams. Tennessee's not safe. Kentucky's not safe. Auburn's, no one's safe in the SEC. So for a winner, I couldn't tell you half of it. I don't know. Because it's going to be somebody that I don't think we expect.
Yeah.
Well, let's think preseason here. A couple of the ESPN analysts had Arkansas as a national champion. I don't know if y'all have seen that, but they were as a couple of them had them as a champion. They had some team trouble. Things didn't go their way, but we talked about this last show. They're healthy now. They just took care of LSU
easy.
Yeah, and they look good. They should have beat us. You've got teams like that's in the bottom that's going to play in the first day of the tournament that can make a big run. Now, it's been like 15 years since the first day team has won, but SEC is the best conference in basketball, hands down. Like we talked about before the show, SEC, the teams that are locked, the 6 that are locked, they could be a second weekend team. So SEC tournament, I'm going to go with, it'd be crazy not to say Tennessee. They're the most senior team. They've got their superstar. They've got guys that's been there 15 years. They're
Vescovy.
Yeah, Vescovy, Ziegler. I'm going to go Tennessee. Guys, don't hate on me either. But Kentucky's due for one. It's been 2019 since we've been to a SEC championship. Yeah. We're due. And if we can win Saturday, we stay clear of the team that I think is the best team, Tennessee, until Sunday. So if we can take care of them, let the Titans clash one more time.
Yeah, that's really good. Big matchup coming up this Saturday in Knoxville, and then tournament time, SEC tournament time after that in Nashville. Vince, we really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome to come on anytime. Anything you want to say before we get off here?
Hey, Cats fans out there, stay faithful. It could be the year. It very well could be the year. So stay tuned. It should be a fun March. Cue the music, baby.